Students, this is the last video of chapter 3, that is plant kingdom. Let us see what are pteridophytes first. Let us see the characteristics of pteridophytes. Pteridophytes, they include horsetails and ferns. Horsetails and ferns are the examples or the organisms that are present in pteridophytes, differentiated into true root, stem and leaves. This is the first class in the plant kingdom that has been differentiated into true root, stem and leaves. That is, these pteridophytes possess true root and stem and leaves in their life cycle. First terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues. Pteridophytes are the first terrestrial plants. Terrestrial means they lives on land. And these are the first terrestrial plants which possesses vascular tissues, and we know that the vascular tissues are xylem and phloem, because as these pteridophytes are found in land or they are terrestrial plants, there is the requirement to conduct water in these plants. So, xylem and phloem are the tissues which helps in the conduction of or which helps in the transport of water and minerals from the soil to various parts of the plant body. So, in pteridophytes, vascular tissues are present, found in cool, damp, shady places. These are the habitats of pteridophytes. They lives in cool, damp and shady places. The main plant body is a sporophyte. The main plant body is sporophyte, that is 2N. Okay. Then presence of small leaves in some pteridophytes, example Selaginella, there is a presence of small leaves and these leaves are known as macrophylla. Or in some pteridophytes such as ferns, the example is fern, we find large leaves and these leaves are termed as macro. Macro means large, macrophylla. Okay. Same type of spores in their life cycle. If the pteridophytes possess same type of spores in their life cycle, then that type of pteridophytes are known as pteridophytic spores are known as homosporous. Homo means similar, so similar spores, that is homosporous. Example of such pteridophytes that possesses homospores are ferns. Different types of spores in their life cycle, they are heterosporous. Hetero means different. So if they possess different types of spores in their life cycle, they are known as heterosporous. Example is Selaginella. Sporophytes bear sporangia. This sporangia produces sporophylls. Sporophylls are leaf-like appendages. So sporophytes bear sporangia. What does sporophytes contain? They contain sporangia, and these sporangia produce sporophylls. What are sporophylls? They are leaf-like appendages. Sporangia produces spores by meiosis in spore mother cells, and these sporangia, which are formed from sporophytes, they undergo meiosis. Where they undergo meiosis? They undergo meiosis in spore mother cells. Okay. The next point is spores germinate to form gametophytes. And the spores produced from these spore mother cells, these spores germinate to form gametophytes. Okay. Gametophytes possesses one male sex organ and one female sex organ. Male sex organ is known as Antheridia and female sex organ is known as Archegonium. What does the gametophyte contain? The gametophyte contain one male sex organ and one female sex organ. The male sex organ is known as antheridia and the female sex organ is known as archegonium. Water is required for the transfer of male gametes to the archegonium. So we now got the sex organs. The sex organs are male, the male sex organ and female sex organ. So for the fusion of these two sex organs, the fusion of the gametes that occur from these sex organs, there must be the contact between these two gametes. It is one male gamete and one female gamete. But for this contact to occur, water is required. That means water is required for transfer of male gametes to the archegonia. Archegonia is the female gamete. So male gamete, if it has to go to archegonia or this female sex organ, then they have to swim and go. So water is very important in this case. Gametophytes in fern are called prothallus. So in ferns, the gametophytes are known as prothallus. It is very important. Note this point carefully. And fusion of male and female gamete give rise to zygote formation. And when this male and the female gamete fuses, it gives rise to zygote formation. Zygote produces multicellular sporophytes, and these zygote, they produce multicellular sporophyte. What does they produce? They produce multicellular sporophyte, which is the dominant phase of pteridophytes. And in pteridophytes, it is that means the sporophyte is the dominant phase of pteridophytes. We have discussed it, or we have got it in the previous point also. This is the point. The main plant body is sporophyte. This is written here. The zygote produce multicellular sporophyte, and this sporophyte is the dominant phase of pteridophyte. So the main plant body is a sporophyte as it is there in dominant form. Okay, let us go to the next slide then. We'll continue the characteristics of pteridophytes. The development of zygote into young embryos takes place within the female gametophyte. Where is the development of young embryos takes place? It takes place in the female gametophyte. This event is a precursor to the seed habit. And this event is a precursor to the seed habit. That means up till pteridophytes, up till now, seed has not been formed in the plant kingdom, in any class of the plant kingdom. But here is a development of zygote. The zygote development into young embryo. The zygote is developing into young embryos, right? And this development takes place within the female gametophyte. This development is taking place in the female gametophyte. So it is mentioned here that it is a precursor to the seed habit. This is a precursor. That means in these pteridophytes, there is something like the formation of seeds, but it is not the actual seed. So it is the precursor to the seed habit. Okay. So this is an important step in evolution. So this precursor to the seed is an important step in evolution. That means after this class, we will study about gymnosperms. In gymnosperms, this seed will be evolved in gymnosperm. So this is an important step in evolution. There are 4 classes of pteridophytes. It is very important. Coelopsida, the first one. The second class is Lycopsida. The third is Spanopsida. The fourth is Pteropsida. These are the various examples. Go through it. Example of Coelopsida is Coelotum. Example of Lycopsida is Selaginella and Lycopodium. Example of Spanopsida is Equisetum. Example of Pteropsida is Dryopteris, Pteris, and adiantum. Okay, then we'll go to the next class of plant kingdom, that is gymnosperms. It includes medium-sized trees, tall trees and shrubs. So gymnosperm may include medium-sized trees, tall trees or shrubs. One important example is sequoia. It is one of the tallest tree species. This example is one of the tallest tree species, and this tree belongs to gymnosperm. Okay, this is a very important question here. This is presence of seed. This is also a very important point. In plant kingdom, we first find seeds in the class of gymnosperm. Okay, the main plant body is sporophyte, as like in pteridophytes. In pteridophytes also the main plant body was made of sporophyte. Okay, here root system is taproot system. Taproot system is present in gymnosperms. It is important. This taproot is very important. Okay, in gymnosperms taproot system we find. Roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza, pinus. I think you all have seen the pinus plant. Okay, that pinus is an example of gymnosperms, and in the roots of the pinus there is a fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza. Okay, in the roots of pinus we find the association of fungi with their roots, and this is known as mycorrhiza. This is very important. The cycas possesses small specialized roots called coralloid roots. Okay, cycas is another example of gymnosperm. So cycas possesses specialized roots in the roots of cycas are specialized and are called, the roots present in cycas are called coralloid roots. These roots are associated with nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. Okay, here in the roots of cycas we found the nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. Okay, ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall. In pteridophytes, ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall. Okay, there is no wall which surrounds the ovule. Okay, and remains exposed. These ovules remain exposed. That's why the name given as gymnosperm. That's why the name is given as gymnosperms, because gymnos means naked and sperma means seed. So open seeds. That is, the ovules are not enclosed by any ovary wall. So they are naked. In conifers, the needle-like leaves reduce the surface area. In conifers, there occurs needle-shaped leaves, and obviously the needle-shaped leaves are very thin, pointed like needle, and these leaves reduce the surface area as compared to the other big leaves. Okay, two types of spores produced from sporangia. Okay, the sporangia produces two types of spores in gymnosperms. All gymnosperms are heterosporous. They produce haploid microspores. Okay, all gymnosperms are heterosporous. Heterosporous means they produce different spores. Okay, they produce haploid microspores and megaspores. So it is mentioned here that two types of spores produced from sporangia. Let us come to the next point then. Next slide. The microspores developed into pollen grains. We just found that the sporangium produces heterospores. That means one is microspore and the other is megaspore. Okay, the microspore develops into pollen grains, and the microspores produced from the sporangia develops into pollen grains. The next point is the structures bearing microsporophylls and microsporangia are called microsporangiate or male strobili. The structure which contains microsporophylls and microsporangia, they are called microsporangiate and they are also known as male strobili. Those bearing megasporophylls with ovules or megasporangia are female strobili, and female strobili are those structures which bears megasporophyll and megasporangia. Okay, the males of female cones or the male or female cones or strobili may be born on the same tree. Example, pinus. In pinus, what happens? The male or the female cones or strobili, they may be born on the same tree. Okay, but in cycas plant, what happens is that both are found in different plants. Both means this female and the male cones are found in different plants. That means there is a male cycas plant and a female cycas plant. The megaspore mother cell is differentiated to form one of the cells of the nucleus. Okay. The megaspore mother cell is differentiated from one of the cell of the nucleus. From the various cells present in the nucleus, the megaspore mother cell is differentiated. Okay. The nucleus is protected by envelopes and the composite structure is called an ovule and the whole structure is known as ovule. The ovules are born on megasporophylls. Sporophylls which may be clustered to form the female cones, and these ovules and a cluster of ovules are known as female cones. One of the megaspores enclosed within megasporangium develops into a multicellular female gametophyte that bears two or more archegonia or female sex organs. One of the megaspores, okay, megaspores enclosed within megasporangium. The megaspores which are enclosed in megasporangium develops into these megaspores develops in multicellular female gametophyte. These megaspores develop into multicellular female gametophyte, and this multicellular female gametophyte, they bear two or more archegonia. This multicellular female gametophyte, they possess two or more archegonia or female sex organ. Okay, so multicellular female gametophyte contains sex organs. The male and the female gametophytes don't have an independent free living existence. Here in gymnosperms, the male and the female gametophytes, they can't live an independent life. That means they are present in sporangium. But the other gametophytes we have found in pteridophytes, bryophytes or algae, we have seen that they live in water. That means they live independently. But in gymnosperms, they are present in sporangium. The pollen grain is released from the microsporangium. Okay. Then the pollen grains are carried in air. After the pollen grains are released from this microsporangium, they are carried by air currents. They are carried by air and come in contact with opening of the ovules borne on megasporophylls. And these pollen grains are carried by air currents to where? To the opening of ovules. Okay, to the opening of ovules born on megasporophyll. And when does these ovules born? They are born on megasporophylls. Okay. This is the last slide. Okay. Then occurs fusion of male and female gametes. As the two male and the female gametes come in contact, they fuse to form zygote. Okay. Following fusion, after fusion, that means after fusion, the zygote develops into an embryo. Zygote is developed, and that zygote develops into an embryo, and the ovules develops into seeds. Okay. So students, this was all about pteridophyte and gymnosperms, and there is one class left, that is angiosperms, but this is not included in your syllabus, so I will not go through that class, angiosperms. Okay, then this is the last part of the chapter, the plant kingdom. Today we'll conclude with this chapter, and I will be uploading more videos from the next chapters. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video.